5. Thank you, Deacon Renee Wise. That's our station manager here at the Boston Praise Radio and TV Network. Kingdom greetings and God's richest blessings be multiplied to you and yours. You're tuned into another segment of Healing Our Land's live interactive broadcast exclusively here on the Boston Praise Radio and TV Network. By way of announcement, on Sunday, that's this Sunday, April 26, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. will be Boston Praise Radio and TV Network's telethon. We're encouraging you to tune in and support this platform that gives us the opportunity to be able to bring on different broadcasters and bring on people who are running for elected office to give you information, inspiration, but we cannot do that without your support. And so you can go to capital BPR TV on Cash App, even now, to be able to sow into the seed that we can continue this institution, Boston's only Black-owned, Black-operated, faith-based, or not, I should say church-based, let me say it that way, because we're located in the low level of Global Ministries Christian Church, multimedia FCC licensed in many illegal stations. We do it righteously, and so we're the only one in the city of Boston. So it's an institution that I encourage you to support. So again, that's this Sunday. Praise is what we do, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can see the flyer. Those who are tuned in on Roku TV or on TV, you can see us. But this again is Healing Our Land's broadcast. Our broadcast schedule is Wednesday and Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When we're not behind the wall or in the community, this is where you can find us. And so I'm so excited to be live in the studio today before we go behind the wall this evening with my very special guest, a friend and a brother who's actually been on this broadcast before, I think.
Absolutely.
I thought so.
True indeed.
Amen. So I had the privilege of meeting Devon McNeil when he first came home. My brother Eric Kennedy and I, we met him, and he has continued just to stay focused and do a whole lot of amazing work. So without further ado, I want to introduce Devon McNeil. You can see him on the camera there. You can hear him, and you can also call 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685 with your questions, with your comments, with your concerns. We're also on Pastor Bruce Wall's Facebook page, which I'll be sharing on my page, as well as on Brother McNeil's page that I believe is called what is it? The Street Slide?
The Street Slide.
The Street Slide.
Yeah, the Street Slide.
And I encourage you to get a subscription, which I recently did, to be able to support the brother. And we've got another friend and brother, my brother James Marshall, who took the time to come in, and I'm so grateful for James Marshall. We had another broadcast. It was on maybe Friday with a young man, Nathaniel Giles, powerful young brother who's also had an experience in incarceration, talks about intergenerational trauma and the relationship with our fathers. And these are the kind of conversations that we're so grateful to be able to have. People whom have been where you haven't been, and you don't have to experience it for yourself. And so I'm just grateful that we're trying to create this village. We've often heard it say that it takes a village, and we're trying to be really intentional in creating that healthy village. So again, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm at peace. I'm at peace. I'm blessed, at peace. I'm civilized. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. Man, just sitting here today, just like being in this studio, is a divine blessing, because according to statistics and different institutions, I wasn't supposed to be here.
Come on.
So for me to be here, man, and not only am I here, but I'm also here with my duty and my responsibility, which is 3 young Black youth that are sitting right out there right now. And I really don't travel too many places without those younger than me, because I come from a lifestyle where I was led astray. Mm-hmm. I was told that I wouldn't be a man until I went to prison at least one time. I was also told that I would not be able to sell crack cocaine in my neighborhood unless I was willing to shoot my gun to hold the block down. That's the education I received at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 years old. So I'm making sure that our future, which is our youth, don't ever feel as though they have to live a life of crime, carry guns, and sell drugs in order to be a man and to be accepted. Because at one time I believed that. And it cost me. And as you know, like I said, 6 years ago, brother, it was 6 years ago I sat in this chair.
Wow.
6 years ago, I said to you, I said to Eric Kennedy, and I said to the audience that I spent 20 years of my life incarcerated simply because I was misinformed by the misinformed.
Mm-hmm.
I take full responsibility for all my crimes against humanity, but, and this but is no lie,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know that, I want the world to know, I want the audience to know that I know a little bit of truth. And that truth is we are in a war right now, in a serious war. And what that war is to me is for the minds of those youth that's sitting out there.
Yes, sir.
The streets, the prison, the cemetery, and like I said, different institutions, they want that young black mind.
Facts.
That's a profit.
Absolutely.
Those minds are a profit to certain people.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm going to do and what I've learned to do and what I studied to do is take the best part of myself
Yep.
and give it to them.
Amen.
And it cost me because that 20 years I spent, I didn't go to prison to get a reputation. I didn't go to prison to play board games, to play basketball, and to walk the yard and talk about my past. I went to prison because I actually took a young man's life.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that from the day I walked in that prison door. Even though I wasn't ready to take responsibility on that day and at that time, I knew in my heart what I had done. So what I was scheduled to do and what I needed to do was look in that mirror and begin to slowly peel off all of the false identities that I was wearing. Brother, I had so many masks on that when it got time for me to take off that last mask, I was petrified. Because if I took off that mask, then I would be left with, who am I? Who am I? So I kept that mask on. But it was when my mother died of a fentanyl overdose. When that last mask had to come all the way off. My life today is lived in a way where all I want to do is deal with the degree of forgiveness. I want to deal with a high degree of atonement. And I want to deal with a huge degree of responsibility and give back and service work. Because again, I was them young minds that sit out there, and I was led astray by a subculture called the street and its codes that dictated I be a savage, a dog, a goon, a beast, a real N-word, all these other things. When you subscribe to that street code, what you're doing in essence is you're saying you will take a life for ignorance. What you're saying is you will pollute your community with senseless violence and drug dealing. That's what you're saying when you subscribe to that street code. That's all it's built on. Death, destruction, ignorance, chaos, and confusion. Now ask me, how do I know?
How do you know?
Because I was a subscriber of it. I signed on that dotted line. But when I signed on that dotted line, I had a mental blindfold on. Didn't know what I was signing up for. Because if they told me that my little brother would be found 22 days before I was out of prison after spending 20 years there, if they told me that my little brother would be found on the side of a sober house, dead from a fentanyl overdose, the same poison that killed my mother, do we really think I would have signed up for that streets? Absolutely not. And that's why my nonprofit today, which I started immediately after I got released from prison. By the way, I'm so proud of this. The 23rd, tomorrow, will make my 6th year home as a free man. I'm 48 years old. This is the longest I've been free since the age of 16 years old. You know how I did that? Because I went inside my mind first. And I married my mind with my heart. And I told myself I deserved better than being a criminal. I deserved better than subscribing to a way of life that was built on death. And when I tried that new life on, a light clicked within my mind. And I've never turned that light off. And that life is the truth. I know a few things today. And I know that if I don't stand between the streets and our young black inner city youth, that they're up for grabs. And like I said, my nonprofit is called Not On My Watch. Because it won't happen on my watch. I wasn't on nobody's watch when I was their age. Allowed to run the streets and roam. But again, I was misinformed by the misinformed. So today, I'm just happy, man, to be home, doing my duty as a civilized person, which is save these youth, man. And I was able to achieve a building a year and a half ago at 314 Bowden Street in the rear. 2,000 square feet of space that I worked hard for. For y'all that don't know, some know and some don't know, I was mentoring in a parking garage downtown Boston about 3 years ago. I used to have youth meet me in a parking garage downtown Boston when I was running my bike department of my program. My old cellmate, I won't say his name today, he was a security guard at this parking garage, and he gave me free transportation at certain hours to do my mentor work. It was a beautiful thing. But today, because of that hard work and because of my consistency, I have a 2,000 square foot building where I run my programs out of. Upstairs and downstairs. I'm so grateful for that. And like I always say on my Facebook page, if anybody, if you're a nonprofit organization, if you're anybody in the community, I ask you to reach out to me. You can utilize my space. Yes, I have to charge a fee because I have to pay a rent. But I will not charge you anything at all what you would be paying for a space. We are a nonprofit. Let's work together. Let's heal together. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. A lot of mistakes in my life. And all I'm striving to do today is right my wrongs through my service work, through my mentor work, and most importantly, I told my mother prior to her passing away, Mom, I promise you when I get free, I'm going to change the lives of the youth. She said, Devon, I do not believe you. You've been telling me that since you was a child. And you only tell me that when you're in these institutions. Show me when you get out. And she passed away before I got that opportunity. So before I'm doing it for anybody, I'm doing it for my mother. May she rest in peace. Peace. Peace, brother.
Thank you. You want to thank you for sharing, bro.
True indeed.
Yeah.
True indeed.
Well, I felt that. When I say I felt that, it means it resonated with my spirit, vibrated with what I've experienced in my life. It encourages me to know that our future is secured because we are awakening, we are coming around, we are being present. We're the only ones that can save us. We are our own saviors.
Can you say that one more time, please, brother?
We are the only ones that can save us. We are our only saviors. Now that encompasses under God with the strength and the life from the Creator. We don't give ourselves life. I didn't wake myself up this morning. I didn't check to make sure my heart was working. I didn't do none of that maintenance of the body. Something is operating that. A great power is operating that. And in a sense, a very real sense, I am that power. So I don't want to get off track, but you're starting to come into your power.
True indeed.
And when you come into your power, people feel that. It has a visceral reaction. because we are at war. And we are having some victories, but we can't claim success yet because we are just coming to the trenches to fight this war. This war's been going on before we woke up, before we started getting an inclination something's wrong. And we were mounting the losses. You talk about your brother, your mom, your friends, other people. The time you lost in the darkness, which in a true sense isn't lost because you were being prepared. You know, we're prepared. You said something before the broadcast about prophets going to mountains, to different places of solitude, aloneness. Prisons can kind of serve in that way. Not that it's good to go to prison, but it's good to be stopped sometimes and not be distracted, for you to take some time to take root and grow. Now, you could do that out here too, but it has a funny effect to be under pressure, just like a diamond from coal turns into a beautiful stone. There's a lot of pressure involved in that. So it mimics the process of the human development. And so when they scheme to lock us up like they have in large numbers, my grandmother used to say, God works in mysterious ways. He flips that and utilizes it for our resurrection.
Yes, he does.
But it wasn't intended in the purpose of the design.
That's right.
And that's okay. So I felt that, Brother Franklin. And
just to, if I can add on, what I want also the community to know, and I really want y'all to hear me on this. I really want y'all to hear me. I've been doing this mentor work right here in our city for 5.5 years straight. I have not taken one day off. There's so many people in the community that can bear witness and that have bear witness to my community work. Y'all see me out there with these youth right there on Quincy Street selling my self-published book called The Streets Lied and We Believed. Many of y'all today who are probably watching this broadcast have probably purchased my book from these youth. But now, let's level up, y'all. Let's level up. I'm starting, according to my knowledge, the very first mini bike repair shop and small engine trade program right out of the basement of my shop. Right now I have two 212 Predator engines in a box, brand new, that were purchased from Harbor Freight by two beautiful men who believe in my cause. In my shop today, I have 9 mini bikes. 9 mini bikes who these youth are going to take apart from the frame down to the frame and then rebuild with these engines. I need all the help I can get to give our youth a trade. If not me, then who? Where are our young black youth going to get a trade over the summer? I need all the help I can get. If we're serious about saving the lives, shaping the mind, and taking our youth out of degradation and uncivilization and a mindset of criminality, we have 10-year-olds that are talking about they're gangsters. We have 7-year-olds that are talking about they're gangsters. We have to stop it now. Please. This is the book right here. This is my very first book that was self-published inside of a prison. The Streets Lied and We Believe. This book sells for $20 right on Quincy Street. And the youth, they keep $10 off every book they sell. If that's not creating an impact, if that's not community service, if that's not saving the lives of our youth, then what is? Not only am I mentoring them, but I'm showing them financial literacy 101 in real time. These youth make over $100 every time they go outside 3 times a week. Again, this book was published in a prison, and now youth on the street selling it? Come on, y'all. If that's not God within God, meaning my nature is God, and that's how I operate every single day from that nature, because I know where I come from, and I come from a way of life that was a lie. It was all a lie. They lied to me. The OGs, the streets, everyone lied. But again, we was all misinformed by the misinformed. So please, if you want to see your son have a sharp mind, if you want to see your son walk through that door with his chest poked out because he was playing with an engine and tools, and because he was mentored in the right manner, please contact me. My name is Devon McNeil. You all know my Facebook page. Look me up on Facebook and watch the work I do. Because I do it in real time. I do it in real time. You know why? I sold drugs in real time. I was outside in that street corner in real time. I was sitting inside innocent people's apartments who I had addicted to drugs in real time. So I better be willing to civilize these youth in real time. Peace. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. I don't know if you wanted to weigh in, but I'm gonna actually encourage you too, because you need to engage your youth. Is it Louis? Yeah. I'm gonna switch the camera, and if you can just handle whatever situation I need to address, and we'll come back. All right. So I'm gonna switch to my brother James. Wow. Right? Like,
Yes.
go ahead.
Energy, beautiful energy. The forceful energy that moves mountains. It creates things. It impacts vibration, ripple effect.
I love it.
It's spiritual energy.
I love it.
There is a piece which in the Bible talks about we battle
Not against flesh and blood, but principalities, demonic forces,
wickedness
powers,
in high
and
places.
rulers of the darkness
All
and
right.
spiritual wickedness in high places.
Speak about that, brother.
Yeah, so that's the invisible world that is actually what's constant, right? We are spirit beings having a human experience, is how I perceive it, right? This is it's a garment that holds our soul in space and time for a period of time. It's going to go back to what it came from, ashes, dust to dust. It's a vessel.
Preach, brother.
We are spirit beings, right? Before the foundation of the earth ever even laid, God knows the purpose that he has for us, because he preordained. None of us are here by happenstance. Whatever the situation is, if it was rape, it doesn't matter. God's the author of life, period. Even if it's artificially inseminated, it takes God to cause that life to come to fruition, and for a purpose that is beyond our understanding, because we can't comprehend the mind of an infinite God as finite creations. So the trick of the enemy, right, who is a demonic force, right? He's connected to 1/3. He thought he was going to usurp the authority. God created everything that exists, the creator, right? Right, the stars, the moon, everything does what it was designed to do. But even the angels that he created, but they had an order, right? And the chief worshiper, Lucifer, but was so gifted. This is what happens. We become so gifted in what God gave us that we look, oh, how great I am. That pride that comes before the fall. And so he thought he was going to have a coup in heaven, right? And God's like, are you crazy? Like, cast him down. Hell was created for Satan and the 1/3 of the angels that are now powerful supernatural beings, but they're fallen. And they hate us because his prized creation is human beings, because we have free will. We can choose to be a vessel of our own carnal flesh that's actually really the food chain, right? We're mammals. If we don't tap into that higher vibration that you're talking about, right? What is that I want to call it? Our divine nature, right? The character of God and our unique experience that gives us a part to do what our purpose is in the element of time, to have an impact on a people group that's bigger than just our selfish self. So the Bible says it this way, that our battle is not against flesh and blood. So we're not fighting white or black, rich or poor, the hood or the, like, that's this divisiveness that the enemy has us killing our brothers. Started from Cain and Abel. Killed his own brother. That was black on black crime. So it's not about black on black. It's spiritual, right? So he killed his own brother because he was jealous of that, right? And he could have got the same, honor had he just given the sacrifice with the right spirit, right? You just can't give God whatever he created, and it's the intent and that he gave. That's from my understanding. So the Bible says our battle's not against flesh and blood, but demonic forces, powers, the rulers of the darkness of this world. So there's 1% of the population controlling 99% of the world's wealth that is wicked. We just get what they tell us in the propaganda on the media, right? We have no idea. We've seen some manifestation of wickedness. We're just casualties, right? Because they don't care, right? So it says, but the weapons of our warfare, they're not carnal. They're not guns and knives and nuclear bombs and those kind of things, but they're mighty to the pulling out of strongholds of classism, racism, sexism, phobia, and dis-ease, because God meant for us to live in paradise. But we created this with our free will. The one thing that God gives us as human beings is free will. As I said earlier, the stars do what they were intended to do. The moon does what it was intended to do. Creation does what it was designed to do.
It does, brother.
We, as human beings, because he's not a control freak, gives us the ability to make choice of what, but there's consequence to choice, to what he was saying. So,
Responsibility.
Responsibility.
Responsibility, that's a huge word. That's a huge word. And what I'm learning is just the transition from prison to the free world. The responsibility I had to be responsible for myself and my actions, just that duty alone was a severe crucible. Right? Because not only did I have to come home after my relationship failed, that was a test. Do you know how many men come home with the idea, a determined idea, that they're gonna have a loving relationship with their partner?
Mm-hmm.
But what I did not know and what I did not expect was I had a divine purpose on my life. So no matter what I was gonna do or what I thought I was gonna do, there was a purpose on my life. So when my relationship of 28 years failed, I had nowhere to go. For the first time in my life, I had nowhere to go. My mother was gone, and everybody, as far as my family, at that time, was not prepared to house me. But I had an aunt, my mother's sister, who stepped in and said, "Nephew, I can help you, but I can only help you if you're gonna help yourself." My aunt will bear witness. I woke up at 2:30 a.m. every night, and I rode my bike to South Boston to UPS. And I worked from 2:30 in the morning until 9. And I did that for a year, riding my bike to work. Because, again, the easy route would have been to do what I've always done. Right? To do what I've always done. But I'm so wise today, I got wisdom to know that if I do what I've always done, I'm gonna get what I always got. And that's nothing from that world. From that world, you get nothing. So today, man, having a foresight, having a divine living mind, having a God particle within my heart, and most importantly, what I did, I took the scriptures of Jesus and his work, I put it in my heart and I live it out in real time. Again, I love being in the streets with those youth because that's where they are. And if we're going to be real, that's where Jesus was. He was in the streets. It was called the highways and byways. And that's where I love to be because that's where the trauma's at. The trauma's not in the household with these young black youth. The trauma's in the streets. We see it every day. Go in the street, go to your local park, and don't say nothing, just listen to what you hear. Mm-hmm. coming out of the mouths of these youth. I challenge anybody, who cares, to go to your local park and don't say a word. And listen to what you hear come out of the minds, meaning the minds such as the mouths of our youth. And what you hear is their thoughts. So before their thoughts become action, I think we got a job to do, y'all. Peace. And that's really it. I just love what I do, which is a mentor, man. Peace.
Yeah, man. I love what you do as well, Brian. I'm really just so proud of you, and I'm grateful that you said 6 years later.
6 years later,
6
bro.
years later, man. I remember again when we heard about you. I remember also you said something that I think is important when you came onto the broadcast the first time. I remember Ronald Odom and his wife, who unfortunately lost their son Stephen Odom.
Yes.
And I remember you made a commitment to, and I want you to tell what that commitment was as a person who took someone's life.
Peace. There was so many things said that day, and I'm going to be honest with you. Any commitment I made that day,
Yep.
I'm certain that I'm living it out today. But if you want to remind me of what that commitment was,
Sure.
just so I could be very clear
Absolutely.
and transparent about it.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate
Peace.
that. Peace. Yeah. So what I recall you saying was the fact that you have an opportunity to be free, and you took a person's life, that you would, something to the effect, I don't want to say verbatim, but the essence was that you would basically serve and support someone whose loved one was taken at the hands of someone because you did that.
Absolutely. So now what I said was this. Here's what I said. And I want y'all to hear me. For anybody who is responsible for taking a life like I am, and I had no right whatsoever to do that, respectfully, if the victim in my case, if his mother was to call my phone and request for me to report to her and serve her for the rest of my natural life, I will drop every single thing that I'm doing right now and go serve that mother. I will ask her one request. If I can continue to mentor inner city youth, that's the only request I would ask her. In regards to what she said, I'm going to report to this mother for the rest of my natural life. That's the commitment I made. That's the commitment I stand on. And if she calls me after I leave this broadcast, I'm going to serve this mother. Taking a life is a real thing that no one has the right to do. Nobody. I can't speak for nobody else, but I can speak for Devon McNeil. On July 19th of the year 2000, I was not the man I am today. I was fully subscribed to that way of life, that street life, that selfish, ignorant, chaotic way of life. And it caused me to do things I'm not proud of today. But again, I'm living the rest of my natural life in atonement, begging for forgiveness through my actions and through my service work. Peace. That's it.
Powerful. I want to press a little further, right? Because what your commitment that you made was to any mother.
Any mother.
Okay.
Any mother.
How about a father?
Peace. You want my truth?
Yes, please.
I can't commit to nobody's father.
Okay.
I never had one.
Okay.
I never had one. So I was raised by a single black mother who raised 3 boys by herself, doing the best she could with what she had. I got 2 daughters in this world right now who don't deal with me because none of us are fully healed yet from what I put them through. So I'm going to always show up for the mothers first. Now, I do have a dinner plate for the fathers they can eat off of. But they got to bring their own utensils. Peace.
Qualify that. I don't quite understand.
What I'm saying is this. I have a message for the fathers.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to show up and really want to live it out. And here's why. I don't know what it's like to be a father. So I need somebody to help me. Give me some wisdom and some guidance on how to be a father. I would love to have my daughter sitting right here with me right now. But that's not my reality. Again, I'm healing. I'm not perfect.
No, none of us are.
But I love my babies. Mm-hmm. And I've heard them say, maybe, that I love the youth that I mentor more than I love them. That's not true.
Of course not.
That's not true.
How old are they?
My babies are 30, and they're 30 and 26.
These are some true areas of casualty that results from the life we lived in that lie, in those streets, that we have to walk with and heal as a process from. We would love to have a magical wand and just abracadabra, especially those things that are close to our heart. And children can't get much closer, whether you're actively engaged in a relationship with them or not. That's your seed.
True indeed.
That's your seed. But the casualty, the many casualties that we suffer from, and we don't even have enough time to deal with the issue of fatherhood in regards to the trauma and loss as a group, as a community, that we suffer as a result of that loss of fatherhood, regardless if your father happened to be in your life or not.
Facts.
Mine was not in my life either. I remember seeing my dad once, maybe twice. He was murdered. I was 11 when he was murdered. But I had seen him once. I was with my mother, and she wanted me to go with him to spend some time with him. But he had not been around me. He was kind of a stranger. I really wasn't trying to do that. And so I acted up. And so he was hurt. I could see it. I remember the look. He was hurt. And I would not just lovingly go because, this is what he wanted. But at that moment, I could not. I wish I could go back and change that and go. But that wasn't what was the reality at that time. It was like, this is a stranger. You seeded me, but you haven't been around me. And he had been to prison and spent 6-7 years in prison during my early years. So there was a whole lot of separation, from this lifestyle that he was living too. And that I ended up gradually graduating into living myself. Spent a lot of time in federal prison as a result of that. So I know I have 2 sons. One's 45, one's 34, excuse me. And they both have children. My youngest son has a son, and he's expecting a daughter within any month now.
Wow.
And my oldest son has a beautiful daughter, my granddaughter. And they're both married. They're both centered in their life in ways that I was not growing up. There is a development that I'm seeing, a progressive healing that I'm seeing, that I'm able to experience.
Wow.
But the problem with the relationship in terms of the role there has been so much damage. It's like in a war. They damage like roads, rivers, and this, that, and the other, and tear it all up. So if you come that way, you can't drink the water. The soil is poisoned. They do all that stuff so that make it difficult. This war that we was talking about earlier does that kind of collateral damage as a preemptive way of making it difficult for us to experience a father-son relationship or to execute those roles once we become that. And you made a true statement, like, I don't know what that's like. And that is not unusual, because if you didn't participate in that process, then how you going to know? If that wasn't your reality, how you going to know? It's not your fault, but it's still our responsibility. And we can keep that on the table as a yet, because we understand others are involved in that too. And how they've been impacted, you still got to look at the collateral damage to the terrain before you even come together in a relationship. That's been done in their mind and in their spirit, and how they've been wounded and traumatized. And so it makes it difficult for the two to come and meet in the middle.
It does.
And we all lose. But we don't give up. Your story, having said that, is still inspirational. And in time, I'm sure it's going to impact them as well. You know, like in a warm way, warming them up to understand that that love is just pure love. You would love that going to your daughter. And in time, it may. But that love has to be manifested first. And it was stifled. And now it's been able to have vessel. And it just so happens to be with the nonprofit.
True indeed. And I'll say too, because I mean, we're having a real discussion, and I don't want to leave anything on the table. My father has never been there for me physically. He spent the last 8 years of my incarceration there for me in a way that he's never been in my life. He showed up. But the reality of today is, I'm my father's oldest son. I'm his oldest child. Do you know there's a 99.9% chance if I walked out of this church this morning, this afternoon, and I seen my father in Common Square, we would walk right by each other? Because there's trauma there. There's pain there. We will walk right by each other like we are strangers, as we've done in the past.
I feel that too.
I've been in 2 different prisons with my father. How is it that we're both free in the world, him about 2 months free, and we'll walk by each other as if we're strangers today, and I come from his loin? If that's not trauma, if something's not going on today in this world, because that story's not unique.
No, it's not.
So, something's happening. I would love to revisit this conversation. I do take responsibility for my part I play in this.
True that.
But like I say, and like I tell my father, I will never in my life go to jail ever again for nothing or no one, because I don't have to.
That's right.
Peace. That's it.
So on a previous time spent on the podcast, we had talked about the issue about fatherhood and the relationship of the role of black men in the community, and some of the damage and the trauma that expresses itself in ways of separation, dislocation, fragmentation, like not even like a bridge to walk across at times to even meet in the middle. And what we're going to do about that, as far as like we're doing something, because even when you relate to the young brothers that I seen out there that came here with you, there is a embryonic kind of father-son thing dynamic in that.
Yes.
True indeed.
Yeah.
And so it's like almost a training of sorts that can be lateral to your actual dad in time and space if you catch up to that. You follow what I mean?
Absolutely.
So nothing is absolute, but it's insightful for us to see these circumstances because they are not unique. You know, I was telling the pastor that I have a nephew when he called me about, you know, hey, if you're around, stop in, you know, check in. And sometimes I got to check in because I'm still at battle. I'm still at, you know, war.
That's right.
And
right.
I'm at war with myself. I'm at war with the damage that's been done to, you know, me and the traumas that has accumulated that has not all been resolved. That I'm still in process. And I'm 68, soon to be 69.
Wow.
I'm like, this is running its course. But it's evident to me that it is now time to mount up, suit up, armor up, and address some areas now because freedom is within my reach.
That's right, brother.
The freedom that I really feel in my spirit that I'm deserving of and that is within me.
Yes.
I
Yes.
need to link with that,
Yes,
connect
bro.
with that.
Yes.
And even though my father has passed on, nothing is ever gone.
Never.
Creation shows you that. It shows you the continuity and the continuation of reality in life itself.
Of life
But,
itself.
you know, it's a limited understanding to think that we're physical beings. Like, and that's it.
Right.
But that's for another conversation. So insightfully, this area and it's still a lot of address from forces in high places and wickedness that you talked about,
Yes, sir.
that is targeting that area that we're talking about with fathers and sons.
That's right.
And this, that, it is at work 24/7.
They're working in overtime. They don't sleep. They don't take breaks. We're the only ones that take breaks.
That's right.
We the only ones that's off the clock, that sit around as if we don't know what's going on. We know what's going on.
That's
but
right.
I don't want to jump, and I'm so blessed to even mention this. So, as like I said, I got 3 youth out there, and one of the mothers called her son, and she said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm with V."
Right.
And she said, "Let me talk to him," because she knows her son, right, better than I know him.
Sure.
But when I said, "How you doing?" She said, "V." I said, "Yup." She said, "He's with you." I said, "Yes." She said, "Where are y'all?" I said, "I'm doing an interview in Carmen Square on a radio station." She says, "V, thank you. When you get done, please make sure my baby get home." That is quality mentoring. All her prayers are being answered right now. Right now. I tell all mothers, when your child's with me, all your prayers are being answered. I had a praying mother and grandmother, and they ain't know half what I was doing out there in them streets. Just like when that little boy left his house today, his mother didn't have no idea what he was doing or where he was going until he said, "I'm with V." So I'm grateful, man. Like, I'm so thankful that I've been duty bound. I've been given a responsibility. I've been blessed to live my life in service to those young youth, and that's just it. But I do have to get him home.
Okay, so I understand that.
Peace,
and
peace,
we
peace.
just about wrapped up. Real quickly before you go, thank you, man, for just being so
Sure
raw,
did.
real, and bringing in youth. And just as you said, I live in the community. We see each other every day.
Every day,
right?
brother.
We pass, and I've seen you.
Wait.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Because I'll be remiss, bro, without giving you your flowers while you're here. Bro, I see you at least twice a week. And when I see you, we're always in motion.
Facts.
We're never just idle, brother.
What's up?
We are in motion.
Facts.
Every time I've seen you in the 6 years that I've been free, you have been serving, walking the beat, serving your community. I seen you with my own eyes, bro. I seen you in the field. Jesus said, and quote me if I'm wrong, he said that the work is plentiful.
Yep.
But the workers are few.
That's what he said.
I didn't say it.
That's what he said.
I seen you working, bro.
To God be the glory, man.
Peace.
And I'm going to say, and he further goes on to say, so pray that God will send the laborers. So there is an answer.
Okay.
It's prayer.
Okay.
Right? Because we don't just want laborers.
True indeed.
We want the righteous laborers.
That's right. That's right.
So he said, so you got to be willing to put the work in. Right?
Whew.
So, but the answer is to pray. And God, again, back to that spirit realm that we're talking about, he will have divine connections and divine appointments, our destiny helpers, which I believe this is just that.
That's it.
This broadcast is for a reason.
That's right.
And so that's why and we've been talking about you coming
Talking
back
about
on
it
for a minute.
for a while now.
But it was God's timing when I walked back to that day. So let's do this right now.
Right now.
And we booked it right then.
And we was in Irie's restaurant, by the way.
Come on.
We have bumped into each other inside Irie's Jamaican restaurant on Dorchester Ave. And that's where you made this happen at. But again, I had to follow up. Right?
Yes.
You made it happen.
Sure.
And I had to follow up.
Come on.
It's the same science of the brothers leaving prison. Right?
Yep.
Someone telling you, brother, here's a number.
Come on. Take advantage
Here's
of
a
it.
job for you.
Yep.
All you got to do is show up. How many of us have shown up?
It's facts. And with that
Peace.
said, I know that you're also going to be back in the studio on another broadcast.
That's right.
Talk about that.
So on Saturday, coming up, I'll be on the Mamleo broadcast.
That's right.
And it's the same motion, it's the same movement, it's the same energy. And most importantly, it's the same exact truth. The truth is the truth is the truth. Right? And I was taught, and I live by, that the truth will always crush a lie.
Right.
Always. And I'm here to tell the truth. I despise the streets and everything it stands for. It took my life. It caused me to take another young man's life. It took my brother's life. It took my mother's life. And I can go on and on and on and on. But it will not do what that code and what them streets will not do is take the lives of the young black youth that come across my path if I have any say-so in it. And guess what? I do. Peace.
Listen. So with that said,
Yes.
you got this program with the bikes. Kids are doing these bikes regardless. You trying to
Yep.
have helmets, you're doing training. So talk about the need and how folks can be able to support you
Man,
in that. 'Cause
so-
that's powerful. That's powerful.
Oh, man. It
It's
is powerful, right? And I would love anybody who can help me. I got various ways to help. I got Cash App. I got my website, right? If you really want to help, how about this? You ready? Because I'm going to say it 3 times. If you really want to help your son, other young youth, right? Get the mentoring, the education, the guidance they need to not live a life of crime. My number, my phone number is 508-857-9271. That's one time. Again, my phone number is 508-857-9271. That's twice. One more. 508-857-9271. If you really want to help and you really concerned about these youth, here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. Don't just donate your money to me. How about you come to my shop and see the work I do with the youth? Come touch these engines. Come touch these mini bikes and do one better. Come help me with the youth build these engines inside the space. Peace. Thank you.
Anything else you want to say, bro? What do like 2 minutes we got left? It's you,
Brother, I'm just quietly taking in, grace, blessings. You talk about prayer, and sometimes people think about prayer as something diluted and watered down, just you're going through some kind of prostration. This is a powerful way of connecting with the divine. You know, it's something that we have to always qualify for people, like what prayer actually is. When you're communing with the divine, the power, because you're communing with yourself too. Prayer is deeply personal and intimate, and has the ability, once connected with the heart and the energy in that space, magical, miraculous, tremendous things happen.
True indeed.
Tremendous things happen.
True
So
indeed.
I feel that right now, today. And as I said, I'm feeling at war in a